Okay, so the kind of the next piece of the puzzle is the gun. So we got the bullets. We figured out what the customer wanted. We got the bullets. Nate Ruppel of Upside Sales. Nate, so what's the gun look like? I mean, this is about acceleration, not, yeah, we grow the same rate we've been growing for the last 3 years. That's not the problem here. The problem here is I got to go faster. I got to go either from 0 to 100 or from 20 miles an hour to 200 miles an hour. How do I accelerate the company? So what's the gun look like?
Well, at first it starts with, okay, we have some assets, but who are we throwing these assets at, right? What is the target this gun's going to hit? And then that's about building out a very concise, targeted, laser focused list to begin with to hit up. And then it's one of the things we do as part of our services, putting together an SDR package for you. It's such a fast, iterative, agile, data-centric way to measure and figure out what am I saying? Is it resonating? Are the assets that I'm using becoming effective? And start to craft your message around your ideal client profile. If you're putting together an outbound outreach as your gun, you're using this as your big sniper rifle. You're going with cold outreach. And you're saying very specific things, but maybe your website doesn't align to that. So create a landing page that aligns to your outreach sales messages, test and iterate. Look at the data and test your message and your assets performance. I mean, really look at how your outreach compare one message that is sending people to a landing page, another one that's sending people to your website. Maybe one that's testing between it's using a link to a video, one that's using a link to a case study. And then you'll start to discover very quickly what assets generate the most engagement, what assets convert the fastest. What happens when we use this gun and we fire at this target, we drive a ton of people over to the website, but nobody converts. Yet we send everybody over to this landing page with a video and we have a high conversion rate. So you can optimize very quickly and very agilely using outbound outreach. A little pro tip is you may have all these great assets and you feel like I should attach them to my emails. This is cold outreach. Don't attach anything. It's a huge spam trigger. Use links. A big advantage of the links is they give you engagement insights that feed back to your lead scores. It also gives you visibility into understanding what assets or links drive the most engagement and what doesn't. And then 3 words, learn, optimize, iterate. You can really begin to see through outbound efforts very quickly, as long as everything stays aligned to your target audience as to what collateral your reps are using most frequently, what content they're not using at all, what things are helpful, what things aren't. But then you kind of, you'll really understand very quickly the items we've built, which ones are the most successful. But then Ben talked about a lot of other great assets like case studies, one sheets, data sheets, targeted videos. Those belong in a different gun. Those belong on the sales side as more of the reply gun, the not right nows. I referred you to our team, follow-up emails, dealing with objection handling. They also give you a reason to follow up again. And so when you look at those kind of assets from a cold outbound outreach, those typically are best as the second stage into the conversations with new prospects.
So I like that, but you raised a bunch of questions. My BS meter went off. So I wanted to ask you something for the people that are listening to this. We talk about agile, we talk about data.
Right.
What kind of speed are we talking about? Is this one quarter I try this and the next quarter I try that? I mean, give us perspective of what does speed look like in an acceleration game?
Sure. Well, first it's prospecting in the thousands per month. That you need that kind of acceleration, but also you need that flood of data coming back in. The speed of iteration is usually bi-monthly. So you can make small iterative tweaks to optimize the performance. And within 30 days, you can start to see what is working, what is not. A sales team on average, they're busy with follow-ups, they're busy with current customers. They're busy building lists. They can't sit in front of the data and make these changes on such a scheduled, rapid, iterative basis. But it really takes that to be able to see this kind of insights, and then be able to pivot very quickly and make just small changes, see how those changes go over a short period of time, and make that other change to see what works, what doesn't.
Yeah, that's great. So obviously automation is an important factor here, and
Huge part of this.
using tools to do that, not only that velocity, but that scale of outreach.
Right.
At the same
You
time.
really do need some sort of sales outreach automation to be able to handle that scale, but also not to overwhelm your sales team to where they become incapacitated to be able to do anything else. Because whether their triggered call volume becomes so astronomically high they can't get out in front of it, or they're just stuck doing replies and follow-up all day long, which over a very short time they're going to forget to do because there's going to be too much of it. That's really where the automation comes in, and the data from that gives you the actionable next steps to take.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Ben, I'm curious, when you hear a sales outreach engine of this caliber and scale going, does it make you go, holy mackerel, how am I going to generate that much content that fast? Or, how do you react to that as a marketing person trying to feed the machine?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, it's less work from a marketing perspective than you think. Really, the hardest part is getting the foundation built. Once you have a strong foundation, a voice of the customer research, and strong messaging and positioning, it's just a matter of creating different flavors of the messaging and making sure that your SDR team and your sales team has the assets that they need. So Nate was saying that small iterative tweaks are the way to go. And if you could take one data sheet and reuse it in 10 different ways. Pulling out specific benefit statements, targeting different benefit statements at different audiences, taking different pieces of case studies, taking maybe like case study videos and chopping them up into different pieces. Like all of these things can be done relatively quickly and easily. With that being said, you should invest in regular content creation. There should be at least once a month new blog content coming out. You should be investing in new white paper content or ebook content, new ideas to generate these top of funnel leads, because those pieces of content can also be used in your outreach as well. It's a great touch point if you're reaching out to a group of people who haven't engaged with you in a long time. Just being able to say, hey, we created this new thing, thought you might be interested in it, is enough to get a conversation going again, and restart somebody, getting them into like the next stage of the funnel. So while it is while you should be doing regular content generation, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. I think content repurposing is a really handy tool that every marketing and sales person should be using all the time.
That's great. Yeah. So, just kind of a plug for what we do and why it's important. So you can see that alignment with the customer, and understanding why the customer's buying and their pain is critical. You can also see why alignment between marketing and sales is vital in order to run a machine like this. And that's our process to do this is a 4-month sprint. And it brings together all the disciplines as a single turbocharger to bolt onto your company and accelerate down a market. And so I thank you, Ben Thiefels and Nate Ruppel today for providing that insight. Hopefully this is helpful to anybody who's listening to this, and talk to you next week.